Hello, manic.mercurian here with a birth chart reading. This one is for Thursday, June 18th, 1970 at 3:06 p.m. in Orange, California. And you have Sun in Gemini, Moon in Sagittarius with Libra rising. And so this is another chart that was, for a full moon, basically, you're a full moon baby. So you're born on the day of a full moon. It would have been exact later in the evening, that same day that you were born. And let's see. So I don't know where to start here. I think the first thing that struck me looking at your chart here is that you have a lot of kind of fun placements. Sun is in Joy in Sagittarius, Moon is in Joy in Gemini, and you have them kind of flipped around, so they're sort of in mutual reception with the Joy placement. So, in other words, these are kind of the most fun placements, and yes, they are flipped around, but they're still kind of supporting each other, if that makes sense. And more generally speaking as well, being born during a Sagittarius full moon, you would have a lot of fiery charisma and warmth that would come from the interior of the personality, but it's such an outgoing energy that it would kind of permeate through and be very visible on the outside as well. So you would generally have a pretty easygoing, carefree, jovial demeanor. You look like a very upbeat person, judging by your chart. You do have Libra rising, so you would um, be like you do have a lot of warmth and charisma and energy, but at the same time, you generally kind of prefer other people to lead. You're very easygoing. That being so mutable, having Gemini Sun with the Sagittarius Moon, you you can see things from many different perspectives. You can, go many different ways with things. So you're generally very easygoing. And then being Libra rising, you kind of prefer to observe and kind of follow the lead of of others, kind of generally speaking. And I'll talk more about that when I get into the relationship part of your chart. But I want to cover more of the basics here. Let's see. You also have Jupiter conjunct the rising pretty tightly as well. So you have a lot of like Jupiter and Sagittarius energy, not only from being a Sagittarius moon, but also having Jupiter conjunct the rising. So again, that would be kind of warm, bubbly energy, being really kind of outgoing and vibrant, really, I don't know, playful, adventurous, open to trying new things, open to adventure, really wanting to adventure, having adventure be a big part of your life. So maybe, you could do that through like physical experiences, like traveling the world, but also just meeting different kinds of people. You'd be open and interested in different kinds of ideas or cultures, people from different backgrounds than your own, that type of thing. And this is supported as well by having Mercury in eighth house, and then Sun is in ninth house. I use equal houses, so this shows Sun in the ninth house, but it's pretty close to the eighth house, so I could kind of go either way on that. I'm not really strict with the house cusps, other than the angles. So anyway, so having Sun in the ninth or eighth house, and then Mercury in the eighth house, it shows that you are definitely willing and able to understand kind of some more complex or obscure ideas and topics. And again, this is supported by all the Sagittarius and the Jupiter energy, but then also these house placements of the Sun and Mercury. And then Gemini as well fits into this, that you're very curious, you want to learn, strange or unusual information, which so that makes a lot of sense that you would be interested in astrology. Even if some ideas are not widely known about or accepted, you'd still be open and interested in that type of thing. And also like occult information as well. And then also let's see, having Sun and Mercury in that area. The eighth house in particular is actually a sort of inactive house. So it makes a person more kind of easygoing, cool, calm, and collected, more introverted a little bit. Okay, and it makes you very perceptive and very good at understanding other people. So you'd actually be more kind of focused and easygoing than maybe the typical Gemini. So you wouldn't be as animated as many people might expect from a Gemini Sun. And then the Sagittarius Moon as well is in the second house. So the second house and the eighth house, and I'm going out for eighth house kind of for your Sun as well, just because Mercury's there and Sun is so close to the edge of the eighth and ninth houses. But yeah, having Sun and Mercury right around the eighth house and then Moon in second house, These are more sort of introverted houses. So although you have, Sun and Moon in kind of expansive, outgoing signs, they're in parts of the chart that are more introverted. So although you are really open, you have, that fiery charisma and warmth and that openness to other people, to experiences. I think you can also be kind of introverted as well. So I think I could see you as being maybe kind of in the middle. You can kind of live in your head sometimes. You have a lot of thoughts, being a Gemini Sun and Mercury. I don't know. It's interesting. I think like there's this combination. You seem like a very active person. So on the one hand, you're very open with people. Very interested in meeting people, trying new experiences. But on the other hand, I think you can be kind of, quiet at times, or also kind of in your head as well. And you're kind of all over the board, being having such mutable energies in your chart. You know, you can kind of do it all. You're very versatile, very adaptable, and that's part of, having Sun and Gemini, Moon and Sagittarius. You're really like ideal for experiencing a wide array of things, not only, physical adventures, exploration, travel, but also that exploration through ideas and concepts, metaphysics, higher learning, etc. Let's see. Going back to these kind of fun energies, you have, Sun and Gemini with Moon and Sagittarius. That's a pretty fun combination. It's a fun full moon, so you have that culmination, and having both of, let's see, so Gemini and Sagittarius, those are both pretty open signs. They're both yang or active, outgoing signs, but they are also mutable. So there's a focus on being outgoing, being active, but in a way that's centered around learning and being adaptable. Okay, but then especially combining both of them, because they're exact opposites, it makes you even more open, because you have such these very different, kind of opposite sides to your personality. It also indicates that growing up, there may have been a lot of, contrast or dynamism within the household. So to put it in a way that's maybe more easy to understand, usually we see, if you're born during a full moon, usually it would indicate that your parents were very different from one another. They had different parenting styles. They may have expected different things from you, and this would be confusing and maybe, I don't know, maybe ungrounding at times, but it would also result in you being more open to, other perspectives, ideas, other people. You're more open-minded because you have these very different parts of your own personality. You have this contrast within you, and so you're naturally able to understand, differing concepts at the same time. And this is part of being a Libra rising as well. You can naturally kind of dissociate just a little bit, just to explore different ideas and see, even if, like, let's say you're learning about something and you totally disagree with it. It's not matching what you've learned in your experience. You can still just kind of hear it as a story and engage with it anyway. And I think that's something really great about your personality, at least the way that I'm seeing it in the chart, that you're really well equipped for learning things because of that approach that you can have, that openness and that ability to detach a little bit, I think, at times. Um, let's see here. What else? Some other fun placements you have. So Mercury's in domicile in Gemini. So again, Mercury is really well suited there. So you're naturally able to learn in a, methodical way. You're very observant. You're very quick to learn. You may be a quick speaker with Mercury and Gemini. You may be talented with reading, writing, etc. And then also with this focus on learning and acquiring information, you may have a desire for not only learning information, but then also sharing that information with other people. So a lot of these energies would mean that you would be a great teacher as well. So you're, really great at learning things, but also uh, a possible propensity for being a teacher. And I think with the Libra rising, you are naturally so focused on other people, very giving with people and considerate. You're naturally very empathetic and very aware of kind of where other people are at. So I think that would make you an excellent teacher as well, because it would be easy for you to engage with like students and see, if how much they're understanding, what they understand or what they don't understand. You can kind of read people well and see where they're coming from, and I don't know, teach accordingly, I guess. So yeah, that's one thing I think you'd be really good at, is like teaching, with something, training people, teaching people, something of that nature. Okay, another fun placement. I'm kind of jumping all around here, but Venus in Leo is really fun as well. Venus is enjoy in Leo, or enjoy in the fifth house, which is connected to Leo. So the way your desire and attraction is very fun, and your approach to relationships is fun. You want to have fun with romance and relationships. Um, let's see here, and okay, so I guess maybe a less fun placement, something that's more challenging, is the Mars in Cancer. So Mars in Cancer is debilitated. It's in fall position, so that's a very challenging position for Mars to be in. And I think especially combining that with your Libra rising, these placements would indicate to me that you may sometimes have a hard time asserting yourself, or maybe like defending yourself, maybe having boundaries with other people. And I think part of that too is your flexibility. You're so flexible and giving, so open. I think especially early in life, you may have been very naive or kind of innocent, and so others may have taken advantage of you, and you would have a hard time knowing kind of when to say no, or when to have that boundary. Now you do have some fire in your chart. You've got Moon in Sagittarius, and then Venus is very prominent at the top of the chart, and it's your chart ruler, and it's in Leo. So you do have this kind of like fiery energy where you can get maybe riled up at times. So that would help with this a little bit. But still, I do see, especially early in life, you would not naturally be as equipped for kind of defending yourself. Mars is in Cancer too, so it shows that this would especially apply with family members. So you would, on the one hand, people with Mars and Cancer are very loyal. They're fiercely, passionate and loyal, and they will defend their family against anyone else. But on the other hand, on that same token, Mars in Cancer also fights with their family oftentimes. There's conflict with the family, competition or aggression with the family. And I'm not really saying, I can't see if you'd be the aggressor, or if it's people in your family that are the aggressor. I think sometimes it's hard to say which one. But yeah. So long story short, Mars in Cancer. The three main things I would see would be that kind of inability to have that fighting stance, that competitive energy. But it's something you can gain over time, or that you probably have gained already. You figured out. It's just having debilitated placements like this. They can be very strong. It just takes time to develop them. And another thing is Mars in Cancer being in fall. It shows that what you would fight for is kind of against the status quo, against the norm. And you having such an intellectual focus in your chart, I would take that as meaning that that would push you even further into exploring maybe topics that are against the norm. So you may have unconventional ideas or beliefs which are not, what we're supposed to believe in, or what the consensus is. You may kind of delve into some obscure occult information, that type of thing, because you know, um, the way you assert yourself is not in an expected way. It's in a more subtle or covert way, and that applies to kind of what you're passionate about as well. It's sort of counterculture oriented. Okay. Yeah, and then lastly, there's that aggression, like the defending the family, being loyal toward the family, but also having conflict with them as well. Maybe more so than other people experience. All right. Let's see. And you have Venus and Mars at the top of the chart here. I can use my arrow. Venus and Mars right at the top of the chart, both kind of near the midheaven. Mars in the ninth house, Venus in the 10th house. So this to me would show that you would be attractive. I know that's kind of weird to say, but it may be physical, but a lot of it would be just your mannerisms as well. So having, Venus and Mars, they have to do with attraction, and having them in such a prominent top part of the chart, that's what people would see with you, kind of first, especially Venus, since it's your chart ruler. So that you would seem, you would be desirable to people, you would be pleasant. And Mars is more kind of cool or sexy. Venus is more, pleasant, kind of bubbly, like the feminine energy, and then Mars is like the masculine form of desire, I guess, more so. But both are at the top of your chart, so people would see you as desirable, attractive, pleasant. You would have a a presence that's very engaging, and would especially apply on a career or public level. So you'd have that kind of charisma there, and I think this blends well with your Sagittarius Moon and your Libra rising. I think I don't know, you naturally, I would see you as being very charismatic or being able to speak to people in a way that's very desirable, I guess, or pleasant for them. Okay, so since I'm talking about the top of your chart, let's just kind of focus there more. So you have midheaven and Cancer. Sorry, midheaven and Cancer. So it's really common with people that have midheaven and Cancer to work from home, work in other people's homes, work something, if midheaven is your career and your public image, and it's in the sign of Cancer, which is all about the home and family. I've seen people that have this placement that have been homemakers or they run a business from their home. I've seen that before. I also know someone who cleans people's homes that has Cancer midheaven, and especially in this day and age now, there are so many different positions that you can do from home or maybe going to other people's homes. But there is a propensity for that. I know another person who has Cancer midheaven who doesn't work at home, but he's a manager of a business. So, um, and I think Cancer is really good at that as well. Cancer is kind of like the mother. The mother kind of manages the home. So you may have that approach as well. You could have really, excellent manager ability to kind of manage a business, since that in a way that's kind of like managing a home. So yeah, in short, something, either another another person I know with Cancer midheaven used to be an interior designer as well. So there you go. So either designing people's homes, building homes, cleaning homes, working from your own home, something of that nature with Cancer midheaven. Let's see. Yeah, and I think especially with, Cancer midheaven, and then you've got Venus right by the midheaven, you would have a lot of like feminine energy at work and in your career, your public image. Um, so like, and what I mean by that is you'd be very receptive, you'd be very nurturing, you would help to create an environment at your work that is um, inviting or kind of warm and welcoming. Almost like you're making it your home too. Even if you don't literally work at home, you would kind of make your workplace feel like a home, sort of. And I think you would be a leader. Having Libra rising, you can kind of lead indirectly at times. You're not always the first one to make a move. I don't see you as being like super ambitious, where you desire like power and where you want to be in charge of everybody. But I do see you as having good, I don't know, leadership potential, or maybe being a manager of some sort. And again, the way you lead is kind of more softly, more indirectly. Um, but Libra Rising is very professional as well. Libra Rising keeps itself composed and is constantly kind of fitting itself to work with the situation. So Libra Rising people are good at being very professional, or whatever the nature of their job is. They're good at kind of making themselves fit that. So like they're great at customer service, for instance, and also that ability to work with others and to focus so much on others, to be receptive of other people's needs. Um, yeah. So anyway, so I guess to kind of summarize it, you'd have great kind of people skills, great with working with people. So maybe great at customer service, and let's see, also potential management ability, and then you've got that strong intellect as well. Um, and then lastly, some kind of focus on the home, other people's homes, family, etc. So some kind of position where you could tie all those kind of subjects I rattled off in together. That would be kind of perfect, I think, judging off your chart. So I don't know what that would be. I know that's a lot of different topics. Like, I mean, that could be a lot of different things, really. Um, yeah, it could. I'll just kind of let you. I think you probably understand, so I'll just leave it at that. Let's see here. And let's talk. Oh, I don't want to forget this. So you have South Node in Virgo. Um, I think this complements your chart really well because you don't have a lot of Earth placements. You've got IC in Capricorn, Saturn in Taurus, Pluto in Virgo, so those are kind of more outer planets. But having South Node in Virgo is really great because it makes you responsible, it makes you grounded. So, even though you've got Sun and Gemini, Moon and Sagittarius, these placements can kind of be so adventurous, so outgoing that they kind of lose themselves. But you have that South Node in Virgo to kind of save you in a way. So despite being so into kind of more abstract ideas or adventures and such, you can also handle more mundane issues. You can do the mundane stuff, the Virgo stuff, if you will. So you can go to work, handle money, and do the chores or whatever. If your nodes were flipped and you had South Node and Pisces, it would be really hard for you to do that more mundane stuff. You would kind of want to run away from it. But you're naturally very kind of oriented on focusing on reality. Um, Hopefully that's not too loud. Okay. There were some sirens going, but it's not too loud, so I will continue. Okay, but yeah, that's really great. So I don't know, it just makes you very grounded having South Node in Virgo, and South Node also pertains to like past lives. You may have had a past life where you were a doctor or something where you were dependent on, where you had to be very responsible and where you were taking care of other people. So that's kind of the energy and the stance that you carry over into this life, something that you're naturally good at. And I think especially combining South Node in Virgo with Libra rising, um, I think you very much want to take care of other people. You want to help other people. Um, yeah, let's see here. But you may want to do so through information, through providing information or doing a service. I know that's kind of vague, but Virgo wants to help other people, and Libra is very focused on others as well. But you have North Node in Pisces, so this is indicating that the direction that you're meant to go is actually to go more into like spirituality or fantasy, escapism to some extent. So yes, you're good at handling like all the mundane reality stuff, and you can keep that. That's there's definitely a lot of good strengths there. But you can also learn to incorporate, and I'm sure you've already done this quite a bit in your life. But yeah, North Node in Pisces is showing that you're meant to evolve toward going into more spiritual stuff, and also allowing yourself to not have to control everything or feel like you need to take care of everything. Sometimes you have to just let the chips fall where they may and just kind of have that surrender. That's a key theme of Pisces as well. And I think part of that, it leads to spirituality too. Um, kind of finding a purpose for everything, and having some level of accepting things rather than going around fixing everything. And again, it's about balance. It's about balancing, being able to kind of fix and help everything, help everyone with the Virgo South Node, but also knowing when to kind of surrender and let go, and go into spirituality as well. And what's interesting is you have such a propensity for, I think, learning and finding kind of intellectual, interesting topics. I think that through learning those topics, that would naturally lead you to spirituality. That's what I see. So even though North Node is something that we typically have a hard time with, that we're not oriented towards, especially early in life, I think you naturally would kind of, through your learning and your intellect, those would guide you towards spirituality anyway. That's kind of one of the main potential paths that I see playing out in your life. Okay, yeah, I've covered most of what I want to say. I still have more though. Let's talk about relationships. So you have Venus in Leo, Mars in Cancer, and descendant in Aries. Let's see here. So one major thing, the connection between, having Venus in fire, descendant in fire, and then you've also got Moon in fire. I think that's the most important thing. And excuse me, for relationship compatibility, I always go, if I have to pick one placement to go off of, I would always pick the descendant. So I really prioritize that over, any of the other placements. And it is an Aries, so it's so important for Libra rising people to be with someone really strong-willed in a kind of open, outgoing way. And oftentimes that would be someone who has Aries placements, because you don't always prefer to make the first move, being a Libra rising. You like to kind of observe and see where other people are at and kind of bounce your energy off of other people, you know, um, So you enjoy being with people that have really strong personalities that make the first move, that are outgoing. You enjoy that. You enjoy living kind of vicariously and interacting with people that are strong-willed, have strong personalities. And then also, just those fire placements I mentioned in general, Venus, Venus in Leo means that your approach to relationships is like Leo. You have a very outgoing, you are also strong-willed with relationships. You're very easygoing. You kind of go with the flow, but at the same time, having Venus in Leo means that you're not going to change yourself for anyone else with relationships. You are who you are. You want to have fun. You want to have a good time. That's Venus in Leo, for sure. And usually your relationships or your love interests would begin dramatically, I would think. So they'd begin very quick. They'd be quick to escalate. Having fire descendant and Leo Venus. And I think part of that is just your openness, and your placements look very open and honest. Like, you being a Libra rising, you are very diplomatic, and there's many kind of shades to the truth. So you can kind of go with whatever fits the current moment. But at the same time, Sun and Gemini, Moon and Sagittarius, these are very honest, open, transparent placements. So I think your openness and your transparency kind of leads you into potentially getting involved in these love affairs like very quickly, very dramatically. And I think you would have many different ones over your lifetime too, because of the Gemini Sun with Sagittarius Moon. It would take you a long time to really stabilize in life because of that openness. You're such an open person. You're open to such an array of experiences and information and people. You would have very many different like phases and adventures throughout your life. So I think I could be wrong, but I think it would take until later in your life that you'd want to kind of settle down with someone. You do have Sagittarius Moon, so ultimately that is kind of your goal. You really want to find like that special person. You're kind of a romantic a little bit at heart, I would think, with Sagittarius Moon. So that is kind of your goal. However, in the first part of your life, you're more about adventuring, trying things, having maybe different love affairs throughout kind of that first maybe half of your life even. But then later in life, yes, ultimately you do kind of want to settle down with that one special person. Um, let's see here. Okay. And yeah, but fire would be the main thing I would look for. You need someone fiery to have fire in their chart romantically. That is something that you not only desire since you have Venus and Leo, it's also what you really need truly in a long-term situation, having your descendant in Aries. And then since your moon is in Sagittarius, you are naturally fiery anyway. You naturally have that energy kind of deep inside in the interior of your personality. So it's easy for you. You get fiery people, people that are, outgoing, charismatic, adventurous, kind of straight to the point, that they are kind of action oriented and they are quick to, I don't know, to get involved or to quick to say something, to take action. You are that way to some extent, and you desire that in other people. So that's the main thing I would look for with compatibility. Um, so probably Aries placements probably more than anything, just because you have your descendant there. But Leo or Sagittarius would work well also. Again, you have Venus and Leo, so anyone with like Leo Sun or Leo placements, that's going to fall next to your Venus, so that would work pretty well. Um, or Sagittarius as well, since your moon is there. That is the core of your personality, probably more than anything. So anyone who has Sagittarius placements, that will kind of line up with what you resonate deep down. So that would work as well. So I think some kind of fire is very important. There's got to be some fire in their chart. You also have Mars in Cancer though, so your Mars is in a water sign. So the more masculine side of desire and attraction, that does pertain much to sexuality and romance. Um, so yeah, so the more masculine side of the like relationship of romance is in Cancer for you. So yeah, maybe some water in the chart as well. So you would be um, let's see, you'd be attracted to someone who's also a little bit sensitive, emotional, intuitive. And now it's interesting too because you have North Node in Pisces, so you're kind of meant to evolve toward water. You don't have a lot of water in your chart, just Neptune and Mars, and North Node. So I think people that are really emotionally deep and sensitive are not as natural for you to really understand. It's not what you're used to. It's not who you kind of are, since you have Gemini Sun, Sag Moon. You're more kind of light and detached, more playful. Um, Having Sagittarius Moon, I think you can be deeply passionate and emotional, but it's still in a more light, kind of upbeat way. It's not the kind of deep, like melancholy and emotion that these water signs are more used to experiencing. So I think that would be something that would be interesting for you. It'd be almost kind of exotic or different, and so you would be attracted to that as well. And then also it kind of plays into, someone resonating with that kind of watery, the deep emotional energy. That is the energy that you're meant to kind of incorporate more in your life as you mature and start to, not start to, but as you evolve throughout your life. You're naturally going in the direction of Pisces anyway, of going toward the more, spiritual and emotional and sensitive. So yeah, I think that would definitely be interesting in a partner as well. It would be conducive for your growth and evolution. So in short, someone fiery is the most important thing. Really, all three of the fire signs would be great. But then also maybe some water in the chart as well would be kind of perfect. So someone fiery and watery, and having someone with fire and water in their chart, it makes for a very dynamic personality. There's a lot going on there, and it's difficult for them, but it makes interesting people. It makes people that are very soulful and they have rich, colorful histories and life stories. So that would be interesting for you as well. Being a Gemini Sun, with Sagittarius Moon, you like a little bit of complexity. You like some, diversity and something interesting, something to really kind of, you can handle like a complex person, just like you handle complex topics. So yeah, someone fiery and watery would be really interesting and kind of invigorating for you. It would be familiar to you, but also help you kind of learn and grow. So that's what I would say with compatibility. That's what you would be attracted to, and what would work well for you more than anything. Um, and I think you would work well for someone like that as well. You're a little bit more light and detached, so someone who's so fiery and watery, especially earlier in their life, it's they're just so emotional and so soulful, that it can be hard for them experiencing all that emotion. So you're a little bit more light and detached with, you have a little bit more air energy. So you would kind of help them, not take things so seriously. So yeah, really, you would both kind of help each other. So I think that's what I would look for. Okay, and I'm about to wrap this up, but you do have Saturn in seventh house Taurus. Now, let's see here. So, South Node. Okay, so so Saturn seventh house Taurus. This shows that you may. Okay, this is interesting because it's a little bit contradictory than some of the things I've said, but it, I still stand by everything I've said. I just have to figure out how this kind of works with everything. Saturn in seventh house Taurus would indicate, well, seventh house would indicate that you have, challenges with other people, challenges with partnerships, challenges interacting with people. So you may have been maybe very shy at a young age, or it may have taken you a long time to kind of know how to interact with people, especially with like partnerships. So that may be kind of romantic partnerships or other partnerships as well, just kind of working with another person. You may have been kind of maybe slow to know how to do that or to feel comfortable doing that. And you may have had challenges there initially, but it's something that eventually, you would kind of learn to master and be good at. But then on the flip side, Saturn is in Taurus, so that would show that um, early in life, you may have a hard time kind of knowing how to support yourself. And I know that's probably, that's true for everybody. Um, but, truly like really being independent and on your own and supporting yourself, you would have a very, very hard time with. Um, which is interesting because you have South Node in Virgo. Like on the one hand, like you are good at, um, you know, like holding a job and making money and taking care of yourself. On the one hand, you are good at that. But then Saturn and Taurus also shows some kind of challenge there, or maybe challenges enjoying. Um, like Taurus likes to enjoy what it's worked for. It likes to enjoy the food or the clothes and to be comfortable. So you may have had maybe a hard time supporting yourself or enjoying kind of the fruits of your labor, if you will. Um, Something of that nature. I hope that makes sense. Let's see here. What else? I think I covered pretty much everything. I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. You're also going through your Chiron return right now. Let me see. Yeah, your Chiron is at 10 degrees. So you just had your exact Chiron return. Earlier this year, I guess maybe last year, but going into this year as well, you may have had some kind of profound karmic experience. So something maybe that brought up past traumas, past wounds, and was potentially healing for them. And there's a couple different ways this would have played out. So you may have recently helped someone else with something that you struggled with earlier in your life, and by helping them with that experience, you heal yourself. That's probably the main theme with Chiron. That's one possibility there. Or if that didn't happen, there may have been a more general, just kind of healing. Maybe you helping someone else helping you, but something to do with your past traumas. Things that you kind of had to deal with on your own at a younger age that may have been traumatic, or you may have not fully dealt with that. Um, some experiences of that kind of nature may have just been healed for you, late last year going into early this year. Okay. Let's see, and it may have made you more of a healer or a teacher as well, more of a guide to other people. So hopefully that makes sense. Um, but yeah, all in all, you seem like a pretty open, outgoing person, someone who gets along well with others, intellectual, kind of warm, nurturing, especially at work. Um, yeah, that's pretty much my take on your chart. So let me know if you have any questions, if you want me to delve into anything further, or if you just want to let me know how I did. I would appreciate that. I'd be willing to go over anything else you'd like to as well. Um, yeah, and you said you'd like the thumbnail pink, yellow, and or blue. I think I'm gonna go with maybe pink and yellow just because your chart seems kind of like upbeat more so. It seems kind of playful and lively. So I think of pink and yellow more so. So I think I'll go with that. But yeah, thanks for this opportunity to read your chart. It was definitely very interesting. And anyone else watching this, thanks for watching. Hope you found this interesting. But yeah, thanks for this, and I'll see you later.